Hello everyone, my name is Kumar and welcome back to our channel KUMAR Programming. This is the 20th part of this series where we are building an e-commerce project as online shoe store. In this session, we are going to work on session cart ID, which we are going to manage by cookies and our Next.js middleware. In our previous session, we have created cart schema and then we have created cart model, and after that we migrated our cart model to the cart table in our database, and also we created a cart component, this add to cart, and once user will click on this, we are just simply showing a message inside the toast with a button go to cart. I have done a small correction in the button title. Earlier it was add to cart and have changed it to the go to the cart since it should be go to cart, and once user will click on this go to cart, it's going to redirect to the cart page, which we are going to build later on. Now in this session, we are going to maintain our cart session ID since we required to add item to the cart to the users irrespectively whether they have been logged in or not. Therefore, we need to create a cookies for our cart session ID, which will be maintained inside the database. And once user will be logged in, then that cart ID is going to be assigned to that specific logged in user. And this session ID we are going to maintain by using our authorized callback from our next auth. Now let me quickly show you that how it works inside our production. So this is our production environment, and here if I inspect it inside this application, here we see this session cart ID, right? And if you see, user is not logged in it, but still we see this session cart ID. And by using this session cart ID, user can add items to the cart. So here if you see, now this item is added to the cart, and if user go to the cart, here we can see this cart detail, right? And once user will sign in, then this cart is going to be assigned to that specific user. All right, so now let's start its implementation. So in order to achieve this session cart ID using our cookies functionality, we are going to use this authorize callback from our next auth. So if you see here, this authorize is invoked when user need authorization using middleware. So we are going to introduce middleware as well, and you can override this behavior by returning a next response. So what we will do inside this authorize callback, we are going to add cookies inside our response and we are going to return the response. Okay. Now let's start implementing it. Flip to the Visual Studio. So first of all, here we are going to create a middleware.ts file at the root level. Since if we don't have our middleware.ts, then our authorized callback is not going to work. So here inside our root level, I'm going to create another file as middleware.ts, and inside this middleware.ts, and here we are going to have only one line of code as export auth as middleware from our auth, right? So this is going to allow us to have all the functionality of the middleware inside our auth. And now inside our auth.ts file here, so we are going to use our authorized callback right after this session callback, and it is authorized, right? And it is going to take in request and auth, okay? And this would be a sync, okay? And inside this function, first of all, we will check if we have the cookie or not, session cart cookie, right? So here, check session cart cookie, right? So first of all, we are going to check from request dot cookies dot get, and I'll give the name as a session cart ID, right? And if this session cart ID does not exist, then we are going to write the functionality, else we are simply going to return true since we have already this session cart ID. And if we don't have this session cart ID, then first of all, we will generate a session cart ID as a unique ID, right? So here const session cart ID equal to, we are going to use crypto in order to generate our UUID. So crypto dot random UUID, right? It is going to generate UUID for session cart ID. Now we have our session cart ID and we need to pass these cookies through our header, right? Directly we cannot update our request header. So first of all, we have to clone the header, right? So here we are going to clone our header, const new request header, okay, equal to new headers, and inside this we are going to pass our coming request header, right? So this would be request dot headers, right? Now this is our new request header, which is cloned from our existing header. Now we will create our response and pass this header to the new response inside the request, right? So here create new response and add new headers, right? So now here we are going to create our response const response equal to our next response dot next. We have a function next function, and inside this we can pass our header inside our request. Okay, so here request, and inside this request we can pass headers, and the new header will be this new request header, right? Now we need to pass the session card ID inside this response cookies, right? So here response dot cookies dot set, and now we need to set this session card ID, right? And the value will be session cart ID, and simply we will return this response. All right, and this auth we are going to use later on, so just disable this for linting. Now let's restart our server. Let's open the terminal, and I'll stop my current execution, and here npm run dev. So now our application is compiled and running. Let's quickly see in the browser. Now let's see our session cart ID inside this application. Yep. So now we are able to see this session cart ID as a unique ID, right? So whenever any user will come to this website, so by default session cart ID will be generated irrespectively whether they have been logged in or not. And if user will try to refresh this page, this session cart ID is not going to be changed, right? So see, still we have the session cart ID as 2E71, right? Now let's refresh it once again, and you see this still we have the session ID 2E71DA, right? And further, this session cart ID is going to maintain the cart inside our database for those users. Now let's move ahead and work on our add to cart functionality and save our cart information to the database. Now here inside our cart action, see this is our cart action, and here we are going to implement our add to cart functionality. So what I'll do here, I'll just use my try catch block here, and inside this try block I'm going to return this. Otherwise here in case of any error I'm going to return success false, and message we are going to return as format error. If you remember that we created a function as format error, and inside this we are going to pass our error. Now here inside our try block, first of all we will check our cart cookie. So here check cart cookie, and we will create a variable over here const session cart ID, and we will get the session cart ID from our cookies, right? So here we are going to use await cookies and cookies from our next header, right? And this is going to return cookies, and from here we have a function as get, and inside this get function we are going to get our session cart ID, right? You remember that we have our cookie name as a session cart ID, and if we have this value then we are going to get the value from it, right? And now here we will check if our session ID is undefined. So here session cart ID is undefined, then we are going to throw new error, okay? Error as, and here we will give message as cart session not found, okay? Right? Now we need our user ID. So here we know that how we can get our user ID, right? We can get first our session. So here const session, and session we are getting from our auth, right? So await auth. Now here we will be having our session, and from this session we can get our user ID. So here const user ID equal to session, and from here we are going to get the user, and then we are going to get the ID, right? If we have this value, then we are going to return as session dot user dot ID, right? Else we are going to return undefined, and we will mark it as a string, okay? Fine. So now we have session cart ID as well as we have our user ID. So now let's quickly log this and see if we are getting both of the values properly or not. So here console.log, and here we are going to log as session cart ID would be session cart ID, and also here we have user ID would be user ID, right? Now let's quickly see inside our browser. Here now, let's refresh this. Now let's select this product. Now once we will click here, add to cart button, we would be seeing the log. Now let's see in our Visual Studio server log. So here, if you see, we are getting this session cart ID, right? But we are not getting this user ID since user is not logged in. But still we get this session cart ID. And once user will log in, then you will get the user ID as well. Now let's log in, and here I'll sign in. And here I'm going to use our existing user ID and password, admin@admin.com, password 123456, right? Let's sign in. Now we redirected to the home page. Now let's select a product and now click on add to cart. Now let's see in our Visual Studio now. Now see here, we are getting this user ID, right? And if you see the cart session ID, it's exactly same, right? So now we got the session ID as well as we got the user ID both, which we will be saving inside our cart table. Now further, on the basis of this session cart ID and user ID, we will check inside our database if we have any existing cart for that particular user or not, right? So here we are going to check const cart equal to await, and we are going to use Prisma, right? So we have Prisma that we are going to use from DB Prisma dot cart. Since we have already generated our client, so cart would be there dot find first, right? And inside this, we are going to pass in our where class. Inside this where class, first we will check if we have user ID, and if we have user ID, then we are going to pass our user ID as user ID, right? Else we are going to check with the basis of session cart ID, right? So now session cart ID would be session cart ID, right? Now, if user would be having any existing cart inside the database, then we will get that existing cart over here. All right, here let's give the comment as get session and user ID, right? And here get the existing cart from database, right? Or what we can do, we can create a separate function here as export async function get my cart, right? And inside this function we can call the complete functionality, this one, right? And here we will check if cart is undefined, then return undefined, right? Else if we have the cart, then return. And if you remember that we have a function as a convert to plain object, since here this cart object is coming from the database as a Prisma object, so we need to convert into as a plain object. So we have a function here convert to plain object, which we have already created inside our utility. And inside this we are going to pass our cart. So whatever the cart we have, here we are using our spread operator, and after that we are going to pass all the items. Here we have cart dot items as cart items, and also we would be having item price, which would be cart dot items price dot to string, right? And similarly we would be having our total price, shipping price, and tax price, right? So here this would be total price, cart dot total price, and this would be our shipping price, and this would be tax price, right? And this would be tax price, and this cart item needs to be imported from our types, right? This would be cart item, right? It's not cart items, and it should be imported from our types, right? So it's got imported, right? So if we are getting cart as a undefined, it means we don't have any existing cart, so we are just returning cart as a undefined from this function. Otherwise we are returning the existing cart, okay, after converting it to as a plain object. Now here, rather than writing like this, we can call await get my cart function, okay? So now here we have our cart, and now let's get our item. So here const item equal to, here we have our data, right? And we have our cart item schema. So cart item schema dot parse. Every schema is having a function as a parse, and inside this we can pass this our data, right? And if we successfully parse, then we will get our item over here. And let's print our item here as well. Here we have our item is going to be item, right? And also before adding this item, this product to the cart database. First of all, we have to check here if this product is existing inside our product table or not. So const product equal to await. So here we are going to check if product data is available inside our database or not. So here Prisma dot product dot find first, and inside this we are going to pass in our where clause as id item dot product id, right? We should be having this product id. And now let's log this product as well, right? Now let's quickly see if we are getting all these details logged. So inside our browser, here we are going to click on this add to cart button, right? Now this item is added to the cart, and let's see in our log. Here let's open our terminal. Yeah, now see here. Here we are getting our session cart ID, we are getting our user, right? And here we are getting our item, right? See this item, and if you see this product, we got this complete detail about this product. Here we have our price, rating, number of reviews, right? And on the basis of that, we are going to do the price calculation for this particular item, right? Now further, we are going to do the price calculation, and also we will check if that particular product is in stock or not. If it is in stock, then only we are allowing to add that particular product to the cart. Otherwise, we will give the error message that stock not available, right? So in this session, we have added our session cart ID to the cookies, and we got our user ID from the session, and also we got our existing cart if we have any, and we were able to load our product, right? So in our next session, we are going to do the price calculation on the basis of these price and stock. First of all, we will check if that particular product is in stock or not. If it's in stock, then only we are allowing to add into the cart, right? That we are going to do in our next session. And friend, at the end of this video, if you found this tutorial helpful, do me a favor, like this video to support me and my channel, and subscribe my channel if you haven't already done so far for more videos like this, and share this with your fellow developer who might find it useful. And if you really love my work, then consider buying me a coffee to support for more free tutorials. Link is given below in the description. Alright, that's all for the day. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, take care and keep learning.